It would be fair to say that Charles Michel is not a name immediately on the tip of everyone's tongue, yet he is the president of the European Council, and this week he waded into the latest round of Europe's vaccine wars by opining the United Kingdom and the United States have imposed an outright ban on the export of vaccines or vaccine components produced on their territory. In fact, neither country has banned any exports. Instead, both the UK and the US are willing partners in the Gavi scheme that sees vaccine donations by better off countries so that the world's most vulnerable can be jabbed. Indeed, there is just one country that so far in this pandemic has banned the export of vaccines, and that was Italy, an EU member. There is, of course, a good reason why Monsieur Michel feels the need to spread disinformation about the US and the UK. America has vaccinated 16% of its citizens, and the UK 35%. In contrast, the EU has vaccinated just 9%. Worse, as the US and the UK are taking the first steps towards exiting this pandemic, several European countries are entering yet another wave of it. The reason for the EU's relative struggle is a simple one. In the early days of the pandemic, rather than allow each of its members to strike early deals for vaccine supply, it insisted on negotiating on their behalf. Quibbling over the cost of the vaccine, it negotiated extremely slowly, only reaching deals many months after the UK. Having joined the queue late, the EU now finds itself at the back of it. Its citizens are seeing their nations, many of whom prize competence as a national characteristic, leapfrogged by their near neighbours and competitors. Faced with public anger at this debacle, European leaders had a choice. Either they could have resolved their own supply issues, or they could attack anyone who outperformed them. They chose to attack. In recent years, the EU has engaged in an unabashed campaign of Anglophobia, spreading disinformation and telling lies about the UK. President Macron, the great centrist icon, peddled conspiracy theories about the AstraZeneca vaccine. Germany's health regulator, meanwhile, refused to sign it off for over 65s. Now both countries, who have changed their tunes at least partially since receiving stocks of the vaccine, are desperately attempting to convince their publics to take it so that their societies can reopen. If Donald Trump had spread similar disinformation to Macron over the AstraZeneca vaccine, the media would have queued up to denounce him, and rightly so. Elsewhere in Europe, in the last few days, other nations placed a temporary hold on the jab, delaying its life-saving benefits as the disease ravages, despite there being no direct evidence to suggest that it is responsible for 22 blood-clotting incidents among the millions of jabs delivered. Meanwhile, no similar outcry has been made about the Pfizer vaccine, despite 19 people developing a rare blood disorder following vaccination. And rightly so, for the science is unknown and the need to vaccinate urgent. Curiously, as yet, the more centrist EU leaders have not faced similar criticism to Trump's claims about coronavirus treatments in 2020, despite their similarly anti-science approach. The British government, however, has begun to act, summoning the EU representative to the Foreign Office for a dressing down. This rare and dramatic step should impress upon the EU the dangers of its approach. Not only have their conspiracies undermined vaccine take-up in their countries, but they are now insulting some of their closest allies gratuitously. We are either all in this together, or we will end up facing a common threat with one hand tied behind our backs. The time has come for the grown-ups to take back control of Europe's vaccine strategy.